Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're digging into a feature that is honestly a total game changer for anyone building with generative AI on AWS. It's called model invocation logging.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Picture this. You've spent all this time building an incredible GenAI application. It's up and running, it's spitting out responses, but do you actually know what's happening under the hood? This is what everyone's talking about, the generative AI black box problem.
Right now, your process probably looks a little something like this. You're firing off prompts, maybe some other parameters, to a foundation model running on Bedrock.
And boom, you get a response back. But what just happened in between? Why that specific answer? Without any visibility, you're pretty much flying blind. I mean, how are you supposed to debug issues or track how different models are performing? Or, and this is a big one, make sure everything is secure. And that is exactly why we need to unlock that black box. The key to doing that is a feature called AWS Bedrock Model Invocation Logging.
Now, I absolutely love this analogy. The best way to think about it is like a flight recorder, but for your AI. It's designed to capture all the vital details of every single interaction with your models. It gives you this complete, detailed record you can analyze later.
And here's a really crucial point. This isn't something you have to enable for every single API call. Nope, it is a powerful, account-wide setting. Once you flip that switch, it logs every single request to your Bedrock models. Doesn't matter if it's coming from your application's SDK or just you messing around in the playground. All right, so I'm hoping you're sold on the why, so let's get into the how. We're going to look at how to set this up and, where all this super valuable log data actually ends up. And the good news is, the setup is surprisingly simple. It really just boils down to 3 main steps you do right in the Bedrock console. First, you just activate the logging toggle. Second, you pick where you want the logs to go, S3, CloudWatch, or hey, even both. And third, you set up the necessary IAM permissions so Bedrock can actually write to those places. Now, when you're choosing a destination, you've got these 2 main options, and each one has its strengths. Sending your logs to an S3 bucket is perfect for really big data payloads. Think images or video, because there's basically no size limit. CloudWatch, on the other hand, is awesome for real-time monitoring and setting up alerts, but it does come with one very important catch. And this right here is the key trade-off you absolutely have to know about: 100 kilobytes. Any single log event, and that means the prompt, the response, and all the metadata combined, that's bigger than 100 kilobytes, well, it just won't get sent to CloudWatch logs, period. This is exactly why if you're doing anything with large text outputs or image generation, setting up an S3 destination isn't just a good idea, it's a must. Okay, so logging is on, data is flowing. Now for the fun part. Let's decode what you're actually getting. What are the amazing insights hiding inside these logs? I mean, just look at this. The log files give you this incredibly rich, structured JSON data. You get the caller identity, which for security and auditing is just gold. You know exactly who or what is calling your models. You get the specific model ID, so you can finally compare the performance of Claude versus Titan side by side. You see the full input and output, which is essential for debugging. And you even get the token count, which ties directly to your bill and your performance metrics. And hey, don't just take my word for it. As the folks over at the AWS Builder Center put it, this is all critical data that serves as leading indicators of the performance of a generative AI application. It's not just data, it's a signal pointing you in the right direction. But here's where it gets really powerful. This data becomes your #1 troubleshooting tool. The logs make it so much easier to find the root cause of those common API exceptions. Are you getting a throttling exception? Well, now you know you're hitting rate limits. An access denied exception? That's a permissions problem. Validation exception? Your input format is wrong. You immediately go from guessing to data-driven debugging. Of course, a feature this powerful doesn't just come for free. So let's talk about the price of all this visibility and take a realistic look at the trade-offs we're making. It's the question every single good developer asks before they flip a switch on anything. Okay, so what's the catch? There are really 3 main things to keep on your radar. First, you're going to have some increased S3 storage costs, and you'll need a plan for data lifecycle management. Second, your control plane just got a little wider. You now have to think about securing access to this data in tools like Athena or QuickSight. And finally, it's worth remembering that some of this info, like token counts, is actually already in the standard API response without any extra work. Logging just centralizes it and archives it for you. So with those trade-offs in mind, Let's just zoom out for a second and see how this logging feature should fit into your core generative AI strategy. And if you remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. Invocation logging is not just some switch you flip and then forget about. To get the real value, you have to see it as a foundational piece for building a truly robust evaluation and monitoring solution for your models.
And that really brings us to the final, most important question. A question for you, actually. Now that you can see inside the black box, how are you going to use that data to make your AI application smarter, safer, and more efficient?